Shane's Rib Shack for a Thursday night football and focus back up and rolling once again. Good to be back on board at Shane's for another big week and a lot of good food at Shane's, a lot of good football talk at Shane's. Had a good outing last week, talked to some Northern Guilford kids. Also had Keith Brown, our referee, our official, in here last week as well. And this week we got Kenneth Brown Jr. from Smith. He is with us and going to talk about a little bit of a preview on the Page Smith Golden Eagle game for this week. Also going to take a look at that Smith soccer team having a very, very, very good year.
Yes.
And Kenneth Brown is with us. Kenneth, a lot of excitement coming out of Southeast Guilford last Friday night when you guys went down and played Southeast tooth and nail. I think you said the halftime score about 29-15.
Yeah.
Smith was in front, but in the second half, Southeast came back. Tough to keep that Falcon team down.
I know.
And like you've been telling us, it's going to be tough for Smith. They got to learn how to finish those games and to get those leads.
Yes, one of the big things that we have to learn is we have to learn how to finish games. We can't celebrate early. We can't get too up there. We have to learn how to finish, and it's a mental thing. Because once the clock hits 0-0-0, we have to play Ben O. Smith football.
And as Southeast made that dramatic comeback at the very end of the game last week, maybe about 2.2 seconds left on the clock, as that game ended and Southeast scored that touchdown, what was the mood like among the Smith players? They had to be just like you let all the air out. It had to be like that.
Yeah. Oh, that play. Since I do the film for away games.
Oh yeah.
So I was like on top of the press box, and I was like, oh my gosh.
You can't believe what just happened. What you just saw.
It hurt. And just like the Northwest game, when we were up, and then Northwest threw that last touchdown, the last play of the game, 13-7, that final score for that one. It hurts just like that.
Yeah, that's hard to believe you'd go back that far in the season. We kind of forget about things as the season gets along and moves on down the road. But gosh, you guys played Northwest pretty close too then.
Yeah.
Man, you had some competitive games the Eagles had this year.
Yeah. It really Northwest and Lee County. Lee County, we don't like to talk about that game. So
yeah, Lee County though is no team to be sneezed at. They haven't lost a game yet this year. Among the top-ranked 3A teams, I think, in the state, and they're playing quite well. And they're expected to go pretty far. I think they'll be classified as a 3AA team when they get in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. That team has played quite well. What about the carryover though? How do you see the carryover coming for Smith? The carryover for the Southeast game. Do you think it'll be a positive carryover since you guys were competitive? You put points on the board. You proved you could play with Southeast. Nearly had Southeast beaten, but you couldn't put them away. What about the carryover to tomorrow night for Smith?
I think it will be more positive, and here's why. Because after the game on Friday, our players was mad. They were hurt. They were disappointed. So I think they're still feeling some of that. So they just gonna have to win. They're gonna have to do what the coaches tell them to do. They're gonna have to be serious, and they're just gonna have to fight for. They have to fight. They have to fight for every inch, because in the before conference, our biggest challenge was not putting points on the board on offense.
Couldn't find any offense.
Yeah, so somehow last Friday night, we got it.
Kind of exploded in some ways. Guys like Mr. Dumpkin, Mr. Miles White all got busy and got involved in that offensive attack.
Yes, Miles White. He's a good kid. Miles and Tyrell's fast. You do have a running back, Jamerick Wallace. Mm-hmm. He's new to Smith this year, but he's very good.
What year is Miles White? He's a sophomore, isn't he?
Yes,
I think he was still fairly young.
Miles, Tyrell, and Jamerick, they're all three of them are sophomores.
And Tyrell's last name, is that the Dumpkin kid?
Dumpson.
Dumpson, Dumpson.
Yes.
So he's also a sophomore.
Yes.
You've got a young team. That's a positive right there, too. Very positive. I know the guys are excited about that, but even if you're young, after a while you're thinking, I may be young, but I'm tired of getting beat by these older guys. I want to win some games, too.
Yeah.
So how do you see Page? Now, Page picked up a big win last week. They pretty much took out Grimsley in a pretty strong fashion, about 36-6, somewhere in that neighborhood. They got the big win last Friday. What about the carryover for Page? How do you see their carryover? I kind of see their carryover being they're going to be coming in with some confidence now. They proved they can actually win some games now. They got a big win last Friday. Makes for an interesting matchup. Makes for an interesting matchup, too, for those on the outside kind of looking in. You kind of look ahead and see Antonio Kirkpatrick, your head coach, former quarterback at Page years ago. So you got him going up against his old team. He's faced them once already in that first game last year. He gets to face them again. A little different for them this time, too. You get to face them at home. You got the home crowd. You got the homecoming crowd coming in. Should make for a good game. How do you see Page responding after their big win? Do you think Page rolls off that bus and kind of tries to pick right up where they left off last week?
Yeah. I think that's what Page is going to do. Page, now I know that before Grimsley, they were not doing good. Now in that game, gave them a lot of confidence. And even for our team, that game gave us a lot of confidence as well. So both of our teams, Page and Smith, they will both have a lot of confidence coming to this game. But the real question is who is going to put more heart into it?
Yeah.
Who's going to put more effort? Who's going to fight for it?
And again, with us, Kenneth Brown Jr., Smith Golden Eagles. Kenneth, you're a senior this year, correct?
Yes, class of 2015.
I'm looking forward to the big graduation, I'm sure, coming up next June. But I know you're excited right now about this football team.
Yes.
And you want to see these guys play well. And like you said, they proved they can score. Page has proved they can put points on the board.
Yeah.
Could be, everybody, I think people might expect going in. A lot of people may be anticipating an offensive slugfest tomorrow night in some ways.
Yeah.
And teams maybe just going for it, just trying things, maybe trying to get the ball upfield, going for the big play, you might say.
Yeah, back and forth, back and forth. That's what I kind of expect too. Because both teams, well, from what I've heard from the players and coaches at practice this week, Page likes to run the ball. We like to run the ball, and we like to run the ball too. So I expect it to be back and forth. If Page scores one, we're going to score one again. So I expect it to be a good game right from the jump.
And you got to have Smith there. Perspective going in, they got to be thinking we got to attack. You can't stand back and watch Page. You can't stand back and wait. You got to attack tomorrow night. If you're Smith, you got to come back out like you played that first half last Friday night.
Yes.
Go right back on the attack.
Yes, we got to be alert. We got to be aware. Our defense has to know what they're supposed to do. They have to know where they're supposed to be. Our offense, they have to know what hole they have to go through. Our O-line, they need to know what kind of things that they need to do, which way they need to go to create the hole so we can score.
You mentioned to me the sophomores, Dumpson.
Yes, Dumpson and
Miles White. And was there one other?
Jamerick Wallace.
Wallace. You got Wallace, you got Dumpson, you got White, those three sophomores. But you got the senior up on the offensive line, Cameron Clark. We had him in here a few months ago.
Yeah.
He was hoping for at least a winning season or a 500 season. I'm sure you've been getting everything you would expect and maybe more out of him this year. Because I saw he got selected to be on the Shrine and be in the Shrine Bowl game, made the Shrine Bowl roster. Yeah. That's a big thing for him. And I know he's probably been a good leader for you this year.
Cam is a very good leader for us. He makes sure everyone knows what they're supposed to do. He tries to help out the underclassmen a little bit. He tries to help out some of his fellow teammates, Chunky, Desmond, and Darius Darden. Those three, they're like the best of friends.
Who was the other one you mentioned? You mentioned I started it. He was here too. Chucky started it. Desmond was here a few weeks back. Who was that other young man you mentioned?
Darius Darden.
Darden. D-A-R-D-E-N? Darden?
Yes.
Gotcha. So those three are kind of the line leaders, I guess, among the offensive and defensive lines.
Yes.
Now, is Cameron playing any defense this year? Is he pretty much just holding down that center spot on offense?
I think he's just pretty much holding in the center spot.
What about Sturtevant? Is he going both ways, offense and defense?
Yeah. To the best of my knowledge, yeah, he's going.
Now, he's the name we bring him up, and it makes to kind of reflect and recollect to last week. He had a big touchdown in that game last week.
Yes, he stripped the ball and he ran it for about 37, 40 yards. And I like it when people on the line make a touchdown because I'm a big person. I like to see when the big people get some love.
It's good to get that kind of love, get that kind of input because you play out there and you're on that line so long. You put in all those days of hard work, blocking, hitting those sleds, hitting those tackling dummies and blocking dummies, hit your teammates and just drive work. You finally get that chance, and good to see him be able to cash in, Mr. Sturtevant.
Yes.
He's having a good year, right?
Yeah, he is.
Is he getting most of his recognition he probably needs? He's getting pretty good props out there? Pretty good props for him?
Yeah, he has.
What would you say would be the key to tomorrow night's game as far as the Smith Golden Eagles at home, big homecoming game 2015? This will be your senior homecoming game. What would be the key to get this big win, get this going in your favor tomorrow night? Because Page has proven not only they can win, but they've also proven they can be beat.
Yes. The keys for tomorrow night's game, we have to be alert and ready to go on offense. We have to know what plays we're supposed to do. We have to be smart. We have to think smart on offense. Defensively, our defense is pretty good. Our defense just has to attack They have to attack, and just try to push them back. They have to fight as hard as they can, and that is what we're looking for. Fight. The coaches and the players fight.
I'll tell you one thing, I know that's something else you're looking for too, because I saw way too much of this in that middle school game I was watching yesterday.
Yeah.
I was over at Page, and it was Aycock versus Kaiser yesterday. You want to eliminate those penalties. Those offsides just kill you.
Oh,
Those,
yes,
they must have had about 10 encroachment calls in that game yesterday. The kids on the sideline kept on saying, watch the ball, don't watch it, man, watch the ball. You know, those penalties here late in the season, the false starts and the encroachment calls, those offsides can really kill you. And it pretty much stops your forward progress and also just kind of impedes what you're trying to do, just kind of almost literally destroys you at times.
Yes, and that was that are some of our biggest problems. Penalties. We don't have as many as we had when we started, but those offsides, those false starts, when we just had a pretty good drive, then somebody messes up. It's all mental, as Coach KP says. It's all mental.
I guess that's what Coach Kirkpatrick keeps stressing, the mental part, the mental aspect of the game. Talk about your responsibilities. Again, with us, Kenneth Brown Jr. He writes up the game. You usually send us the information after the game. I think you also email that as well to the News and Record. They get your information, your material. So you do the write-up on the game. You also, you told me earlier, you're one of the team managers too. So you're down along the bench here helping the team out.
Yes.
And you got you do 3 or 4 things at the same time.
Yes.
You're busy, multitasker, you might say.
Yeah. What I do at the school, when my day starts, to do the morning announcements.
Oh, at school?
Yeah, it's a little show I like to call the Morning Rush.
The Morning Rush?
Yeah.
Okay. So you go down to the main office and they got the microphone, flip on the equipment. Okay, good.
I lead an anti-bullying club at my school called the Everyone Club.
Good deal.
I'm also a part of a service on the youth council for the school system.
Good stuff.
During the home games that we have here, if I'm not announcing, I usually help our AD, Coach McCullough, usually help him set up
Get ready for the
stuff.
game, yeah.
I also Friday nights home games. I am the hype man.
You get the crowd hyped up.
Our band has a big flag that they let me run every home game.
Do you run the sideline kind of like that? Yeah.
And our student section, we just started this year. We're hitting a couple of rough patches, but we're still going. We're not giving up.
So you still got the kids coming out supporting the team. That's starting to take off, and that's starting to build now too.
Yeah.
You know that announcements thing. That's kind of interesting because back when I was like 8th grade, back many years ago. Anyway, we used to do the same thing every morning. We used to have that at school. I'd go in, just get off the bus, go to the office, flip those switches on the speaker system. May I have your attention, please? The morning announcements. We used to have, actually, from a religious standpoint, many years ago, you'd have like a morning devotional. You'd have kids come up for a different homeroom and have that devotional each week, and they would. It's kind of unusual to look back at it now how things were in those 1970s, and I guess that was the time frame. The 2 kids would come in, they would be in charge of the devotion. You had that in the morning. I think we might have had like a Pledge of Allegiance or a Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah, I remember doing that back in elementary school.
Yeah. But I did the same thing back in that day, and some days you'd be wired and ready to go. Some days you kind of out of it a little bit, had to get kind of started, but that's a good experience. Yeah, you're doing it as a senior. I was doing that back as like a little 8th grader back in the day, but that's very good experience. Say anything of basketball games, any kind of work you can get doing the PA work at those games, that's another big thing. Do you do some of that too?
Yes. Basketball season is one of my favorite seasons because you get to call the starting lineup, and I like to do that. I like doing the starting lineup. I used to come up with fun nicknames for our players. So last year for Aaron Simpson, he was on the team, the basketball team.
Oh yeah.
When I call his name, I would be like, what did I say? He's not on Fox every Sunday, but you can see him every Tuesday and Friday. His number 5, Aaron Simpson.
That's a good long explanation. I like that too. Our little name back in the old day last year for J.J. Watts was called, first time out we called him J.J. No Fear Watson. J.J. No Fear Watson. J.J. would come out. We enjoyed watching that kid play last year. He was a lot of fun to watch. Freshman guard for Smith, and man, he played like a senior. J.J. would just get people on his back. He knew how to rub those guys the correct way to get to his advantage. He would get people, the frustration level of guys trying to play defense on J.J. Watson was just off the charts. It was amazing what that kid could do. I hope he's back this year.
Actually, he moved this year. He moved.
Wow. Oh, man, we only had him for 1 year.
Yeah.
Where did he go, out of town?
I think he went to California to live
He
with
was
his
from
mom.
California. California. He was out that way.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
I'm glad you gave it an update because, man, to me, that's a major move because he had already had a feeler coming from it's like maybe Hampton University. I already heard from them about potential college deal. I call it deal. Most people call it a college scholarship. I used to like making deals, but this was a college scholarship. J.J. Watson's gone. That is huge.
Yeah.
What do we got to do to get? Oh, I was looking forward to watching that kid every year because, man, it was fun watching J.J. play basketball. That's a big loss, man. Golly, I'm glad you brought that up so I wouldn't be in a state of shock when I went to the first Smith game this year, maybe at the new tournament over here. It won't be the Timco anymore. I think it might be the Hayco because the Hong Kong aviation group bought out Timco. That's changed their place. So they're going to have to do something different. Put that on the website today, too. It's just, that also blows my mind. Is this... not that a company was sold, but the fact you got to go back and change the name again to the tournament because for several years we just got used to being the Pizza Hut Invitational. I got that Pizza Hut down now. Here comes Timco. You got to change the Timco Invitational. Now we got to change this to the Hayco. And Timco I can kind of hang loose, but that's almost like Timco, like timing, kind of a thing. But Hayco, that's going to be a little tough to get used to. But hey, change is like so crazy this day and time.
I know.
You can't walk in, set something up, do it the same way every day, every week anymore. The J.J. Watson thing, that blows my mind, and man, I'm going to miss J.J. Man, a lot. Interesting. Got to get a new guard and a new point guard to take over that spot because I don't know, boy. I was looking forward to watching 3 more years of him. That is some interest. Kind of gets the hand moving into basketball mode. Let's get back to the football, though. Shane's Rib Shop Football in Focus. We do a basketball in Focus program, too. We'll talk more about that down the road, I'm sure. But we're looking at Smith and Page, my preview with us. Again, Kenneth Brown Jr. He has not gone anywhere yet. He's still full steam ahead for the Smith Golden Eagles. Can you tell us about what all you do? Did we leave anything out? Any responsibilities that you do?
I'm also a student body president.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm senior class president.
Man alive. That's a lot of stuff you do for that school.
Yeah.
You got to feel good about that, too. Your resume is going to look like a tablecloth. You have to hang it up on the outdoor line somewhere just to fill that resume up, man.
I'm one of the few people that really loves our school. Our school it's low on school spirit, has been for the past several years, but I'm working to make sure people enjoy Smith High School. I love it.
Yeah, I tell you what, the football team has helped. Coach Kirkpatrick's put some offensive life into that football team.
Yes.
And, again, Kenneth Brown Jr. Now, you were actually, let's talk about some of your experiences, too. Last year, if I remember reading correctly, we talked about this on the website a little bit because we posted about this back in August, about that Fox 8, kind of like I never get to watch the Friday night program, so I don't know what's going on in these shows. I don't get to watch myself. But you're kind of like the intern reporter last year for them. You went to Fox 8, you went in and helped them do the Friday Night Football Fever Show, helped them with the sports.
Yes, that was really fun. I like doing that. It was the Southern Vance game last year when it was here. It was the game before conference, and I'm happy that we won because I found out that we won like 10 minutes before we went on the air, and I was like, thank you guys.
You had to
thank
go
you
early.
so much.
You had to go early and get ready, so you couldn't hang out at the game. You had to go over to High Point and get on the ready for the live set, right?
Yeah, and it's very interesting. I liked it because I want to be like a sports anchor or athletic director when I get older. Mm-hmm. So seeing like the amount of work that they have to do, in order to like put the things on the air, it's pretty cool.
You need to see something like that before you just delve in and start to do. If you see what's going behind the scenes in the beginning, early on, it's going to be awake about what's actually happening over there. Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And you were there for that, and that's another thing you've done. And you also told us during the road games, you're on the road with Smith doing the videography work there for the games.
Yeah. Sometimes it can get pretty cold. Last week, it was pretty cold standing on top of the press box.
Now, you guys beat that Southern Vance team again this year because you went on the road and beat them pretty badly this year.
Yeah, 35-6.
Yeah, we were broadcasting our game. We kept getting the Smith scores back. Early in the game, that game was close. I'm thinking, this is way too close. You got to win.
Yeah.
Maybe Smith was up 6-0, but then you see that later score. Smith went and blew out Southern Vance. They needed a win like that, though, coming back the following week because we told my partner, Dennis White, who helps me, I said, man, you don't want to leave out of there just barely beating that team. You got to get some, you got to make a statement. It's all about making a statement every week.
Yeah. That's what we're trying. We're still trying to shock the world.
Yep, still trying to shock the world, still trying to make that statement, and you almost made it. You would have completely, I can tell you right up front, I feel like I know a little bit about some of these teams. You would have taken Southeast Guilford's season. It'd be like taking a cart to the top of a hill on an old farm and letting it roll down the hill and then roll over to the side. And you would have completely destroyed their year. And that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
That's the job. That's what you do on Friday. You would go out and mess up somebody's year and do something to help your own self, right?
Yeah, that's the goal.
That's what it's all about, and that's what you want to do. You figure Paige coming in. We look at this a lot of ways. We talked about Paige would come in in because they can flex the muscle a little bit now because they had a lot of offense last week. Got the win. Another thing too, that they may be a little overconfident. We got that win. We're going to win the rest of it. Now you got to catch them just a tad overconfident and get them a little bit off balance during the course of that game and take advantage of Page and do something to make Page kind of throw them offside a little bit too.
Yeah, and that's what our coach stresses every day during practice. When they're at halftime, they stress the importance of just don't get too cocky, don't get too big-headed. You still have a whole other half. You got some more game left, so just play.
Yes, play all the way through, like you said earlier, all the way to the 0.00 on that clock. And if you don't play the whole game, so what might happen at the very end? You got perfect example of that last week. Let's switch gears a little bit with Kenneth Brown Jr. here at Shane's Rib Shack, talking football and focus. And we can keep talking football. We need to also talk about another form of football. What about this form of football, this soccer team over at Smith? This soccer team has got everybody talking. I mean, you had a big article in the paper this week. I know. And you're probably going to get some TV coverage out of this too. I read the article in the paper. I kind of figured it before. Smith has always been very diverse. People from a lot of different countries, a lot of different nationalities at Smith, been at Smith High School. And it's good to see them able to take advantage of that and use that to their advantage, taking those kids from foreign countries and different places, putting them together and giving those kids something to do, something they feel good about themselves in the soccer field. Talk about how that soccer team has come together.
Well, I'm in classes with a couple of the players, including our team captain, Carlos Casas. And last year I asked him, so Carlos, what's the goal for next year? And he said to make it to playoffs. And they have a pretty good shot of going to playoffs. They have really worked well together they have grown together, not only as a team, but also as a family.
You know, think about it. When he said that about making the playoffs last year, some people would have been listening and they would have actually been taking a conversation and paying attention. They may have laughed at what he said.
I know.
They may have snickered when he said that, but now it's starting to come to life. It's happening.
With a team that only won one game 2 years ago, 2 games last year, and now they're sitting at 9-2-1 right now. It's pretty amazing.
Talk about where all these different players come from. The one guy that stands out in my mind, because I think I remember his name because it's a shorter name, is the NIE, the Nye gentleman.
Petro Nee.
He's also your kicker for the football team too, right? Is he a kicker as well?
Yes.
So he does pretty well. Talk about who all these guys are, where they come from.
Well, I don't know what specific countries they come from, but they come from several different countries. Majority of the team come from Mexico. Our head coach Cespedes, he comes from Peru. One kid is from Mali. Another kid is from a country in South America. I don't know the name right now, but we're really diverse.
Very diverse, and when people first see some of the names of these teams, they start their first inclination. I guess they got all these guys from Mexico. They always think everybody's from Mexico to see a foreign name, and they're playing soccer. But like you say, you got the coach from Peru, you got guys from probably Honduras, you got guys from Argentina, Brazil, probably everywhere in the world on this team. And the team is doing it. Hey, you guys beat Page this year. You beat Grimsley. Beat Grimsley badly this year. Beat everybody in the conference at least once, right?
Yeah. Well, we haven't beat Page
yet. Haven't beat Page quite yet.
Yeah. Well, right now I think they're still in the first half of playing against Page right now. It's their senior night.
That game's going on right now?
Yeah.
Wow. At Smith?
At Smith High School.
Boy, it's a busy week at Smith. Got the senior night for the soccer team. You got the football game tomorrow night. I hate we had to take you away from that soccer game, but good to have you here.
I know.
So again,
I like being here. I enjoy doing this right now.
Good to have him on. Kenneth Brown Jr. at Shane's Rib Shack for a Football in Focus, and we're focusing on football with the UTBOL a little bit with the soccer team.
Yeah.
And is this the last crack at Page for the guys tonight?
Yes. Yes, it is. It's the battle for number 1 in the Metro 4A Conference.
And you don't have any way of knowing how that game's going either, probably, do you? As far as no text on that game, but like you say, probably heading back toward halftime of this. What time did the game got underway?
The game probably got underway about 6:05, 6:10.
Yeah.
So halftime will be coming up in like about another 10, 15 minutes.
We're playing what, 45-minute halves?
40.
40. Gotcha. What's been the key to this team being so successful? These guys have really come together.
The key to this team has been, athletically, it's been Juan Espitia. He had a big hat trick last game. Yes, 2 hat tricks so far this season for him. 19 goals so far for Juan.
19 goals, not bad.
There's also Peter Torre. He is one of the leaders on our defense. We also got other players. We got Emir Nieto, Amadou Torre. We have Tony Kadam. Ikun Fanu. Ikun's a beast.
The good thing about
Yeah.
what you're doing with this soccer team, I mean, you're not only learning as a senior in high school, you get to know these soccer players, you learn how to say all these names. It's another education within itself for you just being with these guys.
Yes, it gets me real accustomed to, just in case I travel somewhere and I see like a difficult name, I kind of have a guess on how to pronounce it just by announcing our guys' names.
Talk about the coach, what he's meant to this team. I know he's been a big influence because I think at one time he was the assistant coach, Cespedes, I think he
Yes,
said.
Coach Cespedes.
Cespedes, he was the assistant coach and became the head coach, and he's really brought these guys together.
Yes, what he and assistant coach Pigeon, she's an English teacher.
Yeah, I saw her name as well, yeah.
And also Coach Greer, he helps out with wrestling at the school.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, all
Okay.
three of them, they have really rallied together behind this team. They have told this team what their goal is going to be. The goal is to make it to playoffs. I was talking to some of the players yesterday because I interviewed them because I made a school website for our school.
Ah, good
So
stuff.
keep it
You got
updated.
your own school website now to update all the sports.
Yes, and some of the players said that Coach Pigeon's conditioning really helped
I
them
heard a little
out.
bit about that article in the paper about the all-season work, and that's something that Rod McCullough, your athletic director, also picked up on. He and I even talked about this last year. I was at the baseball game.
Yeah.
He said that was the biggest problem with the Smith kids right now is educating the kids about how important the all-season workouts are. And from the article in the paper, Coach Pigeon had said she worked with those guys in the off-season, and that's when a lot of this actually began to take place.
Yes, sir. With some of the off-season, what they have
How
done.
about some hush puppies here?
This is the best thing we have
We've
here.
got some tenders. Wow.
Cool.
And it was a mistake. They wanted it on the side.
Yeah, leave them right here. We can eat those. Thank you very much. We'll get some tenders going
Cool.
here. Yeah.
Nice.
But, back to Coach Pigeon in the off-season. Chicken's an important thing, too, as far as
Yeah.
sports go, because you can actually jump higher if you eat a lot of chicken. I think you can fly a little bit anyway, and you can actually move quicker. Good reaction time, good meat. But Coach Pigeon, we were looking at chicken. We're talking about Coach Pigeon. How about the job she did?
Her conditioning, because I used to see them practicing, like doing conditioning workouts, and she does CrossFit.
Oh, boy.
So she uses some of those to like help them. And she says that last season their players like used to have a whole bunch of cramps, but now when they come out the field, they're fine.
That's the thing you wonder about sometimes is even a pro player.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen teams before, people on the sidelines watching games. So you see a couple of guys getting with cramps, they start saying, well, what kind of all-season work those guys did? They didn't work hard
Yeah.
enough. That's the first thing that comes up. But it sounds like the hard work that the guys have been doing under the coaching staff has really paid off.
Yes, and also it's really about the effort. Everything this year at Smith High School is all about how much we want it. For our athletic teams, our academics, it's about how much we want it. And our soccer team want it, so they're working for it.
How about you guys in the soccer team? What's the academic standing been like for them? Is their academic standing up?
Yes, several of our players are in the IB program at the school.
Oh, good, good.
Yes, one of them is running for valedictorian.
Wow. I read that maybe in the article, too. That's also really, that's pretty
Baton
smart.
to him. He's in the running for being a valedictorian for the school.
Any of the guys in the academy, Smith Academy?
Yes, we have several. Tony, I know Tony and Peter. I know that they go to the academy. And Miguel Vargas, he plays and he goes to one of the early colleges.
Gotcha. Well, the early colleges in.
Yeah.
So you got guys spread out all over the place. And do you have a conference tournament? I know you're finished up, getting close to the regular season.
Yeah.
You're playing Page tonight, Smith and Page over at Claude Manzi's Stadium.
Yep.
And talk about that. Do you have a conference tournament along with this, or do they
I don't
not?
think so.
No. Go straight
I
to the
don't think
playoffs.
so. Yeah.
Should be. How much more time left in the regular season? Are we getting close to the very end
This
here?
is the last game.
Last, it's over now. So
Yeah.
the playoffs are right on top of us. Wow. A lot of playoff talk about these guys. Are excited about this?
Yeah, they're really excited. They used to say how a few years ago they was embarrassed to say that they played soccer for Smith, embarrassed to wear their jerseys, and now it's like a source of pride for them.
Yeah, because I read that in the article also about the guys that used to want to wear the jerseys to school because they'd be laughed at. Now people come out and
Yeah.
ask those guys, oh, you're on the soccer team. They get some recognition about this now, feeling good about themselves.
Yeah, they really are.
That's a good way to bring the school together, too, because also I think you mentioned, or someone else mentioned in the article, the fact that now you're starting to see actually some of the student population, some of the students and the fan base attending the games.
Yeah.
And before they had nobody at the soccer games.
Yeah, a whole lot of more people. I'm shocked myself because I announced the games last year, so that's significantly more people.
So that's another education in within itself for you. If you're announcing a soccer game, you're going to learn a lot right quick.
Yes.
A lot right
That's
quick.
true.
Yeah. How do you think this team will do in the playoffs?
I think they do good. I think they do good. They just have to keep playing the way they've been playing. Have to play hard. They don't have to let them.
You mentioned one of the assistant coaches, also one of the wrestling coaches, I think. Which coach was that again?
Coach Greer. I think he helps with the wrestling boosters for our school.
Okay, gotcha. Are you familiar with the wrestling team at all?
Somewhat.
Yeah.
Some of our football players are wrestlers as well.
Yeah, I know a few of those guys from last year actually were on that wrestling team. Coach Gladson, he's the assistant coach, Joey Gladson, if you ever met Joey or not. But talk about gung-ho. That guy is gung-ho for wrestling. Smith has got a good assistant coach with Gladson because Joey, give him a couple of props, couple of plugs. That guy is definitely wide open about that wrestling team at Smith. And he's kind of got an interest, too, I think, kind of an outside interest in some ways in the baseball. He wants to see them do better. I know he was at the football game when you guys played Dudley a few weeks ago. What was that Dudley football game like this year? Kind of a crazy night with crazy weather we had.
Yeah, start off with a rain delay. We did good. First half, halftime was 14-7. Just don't know what happened that second half.
So halftime 14-7 Dudley. You guys are in that game.
Yeah.
Wonder what Coach Kirkpatrick was telling the guys at halftime that night.
Told us that we're still making the same mistakes. We were still making the same mistakes that we've been making. The same mistakes all season.
What happened in the second half? Did Dudley, you think, just got cranked up? They got moving? They got things going their way?
I think so. I think they got confident. Yeah, they got a touchdown and they just kept going from there.
Kenneth Brown Jr. with us, James Ribshack for a Thursday Football in Focus. Talking with Kenneth about the preview for the Smith-Page game. Got some Dudley players we think will be in with us a little later. In fact, I see some guys coming this way now, which is a good thing.
The D-boys are coming.
The D-boys, they call them that on occasion, don't they? The D-boys. I used to call them the Dudley boys myself. You remember the Dudley boys from professional wrestling? You ever remember those guys? Devon?
No.
Brother Ray?
No, not to the best of my knowledge.
Where is Kenneth Brown going to be next year when it's time to go off to college?
That's a good question. I want to go to Elon or Campbell University.
Gotcha.
Those are my two choices right now I'm looking
Campbell or Elon. What do you think you'll be doing down the road in years to come?
I want to be a sports anchor.
Do you really?
Yeah, I want to be a sports anchor or do something dealing with athletics.
You know who you look a little bit like, and this might be a compliment to you. I may as well be. What the heck? Charles Ewing. It's the weatherman, the weekend weatherman on Fox. You got a little bit of Charles Ewing look. Have you heard that? Maybe you thought about that before? Got a little bit of the Charles Ewing look about you. Yeah, it's a thought. We had a guy in here last week from Northern Guilford. His name was Max Maynard. He was number 25 with the receivers. I told Max that he looked a little bit like P.J. Harrison. He kind of thought that was kind of neat. He heard that before. But maybe become a sports anchor down the road one day.
Yeah.
You might even become like on an athletic staff at a major university one day. You never know about that. All the work you've done. You've got a lot of possibilities.
Thank you.
What's it look like in the I would take it all the way to the classroom. Let's just skip the classroom and go right to the grade level. What's the grade? What do the grades look like?
A's, A, B. I'm number 15 in my class.
Number 15, not bad, not bad. Still a chance to maybe move up the ladder a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. How many students you would think in your senior class at Smith?
About 230.
230?
No, not about 260.
About 260.
Yeah, about
so
260.
Not a huge 4A school.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was younger, I think our senior class was about 180, and we were 3A, but I don't know if there made any difference back then. We just went to school and did our work, but 260, not a huge 4A. You guys, if the football team continues to play well and gets their act together even more so the next couple of weeks, 3 weeks to go, 3 weeks regular season, 3 weeks remaining, and you guys made the playoffs, you guys are probably going as a small 4A, wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Would that be the case?
Yeah, probably.
Gotcha. Kenneth Brown Jr. with us. Again, Kenneth, your thoughts and your prediction. Let's get a prediction from Kenneth. Put him on the spot a little bit here right now, into the spotlight. Kenneth, your prediction on that Page-Smith game tomorrow night.
Okay, prediction, Page-Smith, 35-28.
35-28?
Yeah, 35-28 Smith.
One touchdown difference. Smith to win. And it's going to be, like we said, it's going to be the carrier was going to be from last week's games. The offense continues. That means it's going to be a high-scoring game tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And that's not a huge high-scoring game with these newfound offenses we have. So many of these are so wide open this day and time. How would you describe the Smith offense? Somebody hadn't seen it before, like me.
The Smith offense, at times, we know what we're supposed to do, and we're great. And at times, we don't know what we're doing.
What's the quarterback-center exchange like between Mr. Dumpson and Mr. Clark? Is that pretty good?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Always pretty consistent?
Yeah.
That's a good thing. If you got that going your way going in, that's a positive right there.
Yeah.
Good to have. Again, big day, Shane's Rib Shack for a Thursday Football in Focus.
Yeah.
Got our Dudley players coming in. Got Kenneth Brown Jr. with us. Kenneth, some final thoughts as we kind of wrap up our segment here together tonight. Your thoughts about Smith High School, what needs to be done to get the people even more so behind this Golden Eagle assembly of athletic students and student athletes. What needs to be done to get this push going to make this a bigger thing at Smith?
People just need to believe in us. We have to believe in ourselves. We have the potential. We have the people. It's just heart. We need heart.
And the hard part is, the tough part is, Kenneth is a senior. He's got to find somebody to carry on when he takes off. Have you got anybody you're training or working with in the wings?
I haven't seen anyone yet.
Haven't seen that yet.
Not yet.
Will
Hopefully
you be coming back quite a bit once you
yeah.
graduate? You'll be coming back and
Yeah, I'll be
still
coming back.
doing a lot of the same things you're doing now.
Yeah.
Elon or Campbell? If you get Elon, you probably come back every weekend.
Yeah.
Get Elon, you'll be down there with Trey Lennon, the former Smith
I
wide
know.
receiver.
It's doing good down there.
Having a very good year down there. A couple weeks ago, I think he had like maybe 7 receptions for about 90 yards and 2 TDs.
Yeah.
Having a very good year. Very good year. And still got a kid over at Guilford, I think, along the offensive line out of Smith.
Tariq.
Yeah, he's playing defense. Tariq Abel, yeah, exactly. He had a big kid playing the offensive line, but Tariq Abel's averaging, I think, about 7 or 8 tackles a game. He's doing very good for Guilford College. Got another kid out of Smith, I remember a few years ago. He's sitting in the same chair you're in, or maybe he's sitting in the chair I'm in. Eric Ebron, how about that kid? He's got a lot of possibilities going on.
Yeah, he's one of the examples of if you go to Smith, you can be great. If you go to Smith, you can be great.
You look at the Bostic brothers. Jeff Bostic played on 3 Super Bowl teams. Not too shabby there. His brother Joe did pretty well for himself too. And gosh, I look at Bob McAdoo. Many years back, Bob McAdoo is one of the best basketball players to ever play the sport at any level. Came out of Smith High School.
I know.
And let's see, baseball-wise, a little tougher there, baseball-wise, but I think they did make it to the state championship in 1969.
Yeah, back in the 60s.
Back in 1969, they may have won it all back then. It came in maybe the second place. Had a very good team. Listen, Kenneth, I know we got to let you get going. You got a lot of things happening. Be sure to eat a wing or two.
I will.
Eat a couple of those, and also use your car to get your meal here. Kenneth, it's been good having you in here, man. Shake your hand. Keep up the good work. We will see you over your way tomorrow night.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Kenneth Brown Jr., Smith Golden Eagles, reporting onto the page. Smith football game up Friday. We've also got some Dudley players with us as well. I think we're going to go Mr. Graves first. Darius Graves will come on board. Shane's Rib Shack. Darius will come in, and going to make sure we give him everything he's going to have to take home tonight. Darius, come on board.